Good day, my friends. How are you, dear ones? I hope you are doing great. I hope you're having fun, no matter what you're doing. Remember I showed you this picture? This is pretty cool. Well, it's in bigger form. Look at that. Is that too cool or what? It's pretty neat. Thank you, sweetheart, for doing that. Crystal Cook. Neat, 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 honey. I love you. And thanks again for this scene book. You know, there's all types of fun things that are of a higher experience to get in and have fun with. Like out-of-body travels or learning 12 rights, and there's all types of everything on all these different levels. Remember, there's the physical level, there's the emotional or astral, they call it, level. That's a Monroe Institute thing. Then you've got the causal, and where is my God rule chart here? But you've got all these different levels, and I had it right here at one time to show you the layout of the God worlds. But these are just major levels or heavens. Remember, Jesus made the comment, in my Father's mansion, which should be all of life, there are many rooms, many levels. And of course, you would be creating level upon level within level within levels. You see that a little bit here, and you've got the internet, and then on the internet you can get into another virtual reality thing, and then from there probably another virtual. How deep can you make it? How deep can you lose yourself? Pretty deep. But this is a time for most of you to regain your freedom from these levels, and that's what I'm here for, to help you gain that freedom from these levels, but at the same time enjoy the levels. Don't get hung up emotionally on things, sexually on things, nor judge others. Who cares what other people's experiences are? You only have your own. So enjoy that. These are the bad of the bads. That's what they tell me. So I'm going to go through them. For you healers out there, when you can take these difficult cases and work them through it, that separates the men from the boys, so to speak, or the ladies from the girls. So let's take a look at some of these cases, and let's see what we would do with them. All right? My name is Matthew. I'm 49 years old and was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016. Oh good, that's only 3 years back. After being misdiagnosed with a bulging L5-S1 disc for a number of years prior to that. Well, the lumbar 5 would be what? Take all that, the sacral, the lumbar, that's all from the kidneys down. So you could very much have those problems in those vertebrae because of that. It wouldn't, the same reason you would have that problem, though, would be the same reason you would have brain lesions. See, remember simplicity in healing. Understand that labels can reflect deeper problems, whether it's a neurological system, and you got different levels of that. You got from MS to Lou Gehrig's to Parkinson's, but you don't go after them differently. That's the simplicity in healing, because you only have two nervous systems, the central and the autonomic. Herbs don't distinguish between the two. They're for neurons. The neurotransmitters only come from a couple of places, right? brain, but particularly what? Adrenal glands. So you know the adrenal glands are always involved in neurological cases, hands down. Matter of fact, I could boldly make a statement that the adrenal glands and kidneys are involved in every fabricated disease that the medical doctors come up with. Why would that be? Because they are the eliminative organs of the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system deals with acids and proteins. And that is where all the inflammation, the lesions, the tumors, the cysts, the boils, the lipomas that you see on Dr. Pimple Popper. All of this comes out of the lymphatic system. There's only blood and lymph interstitially, and then everything else is cells. Not a difficult stretch to see that and look at that. So that could be possible, you know. My primary symptoms are brain fog. One, I have 2 lesions on my brain and several on my C-spine. Fatigue and neuropathy in my lower legs, more on the right than the left side. So that would tell you that his right kidney is probably the more involved. And if you did the iris analysis on him, you could probably see the weaker kidney right there, the one more in stress. And of course the adrenal glands involved, because always the nervous system is involved in these cases. There's no question about it. Now, if indeed the lymphatic system uses the spinal fluid as a detoxifying fluid out of the brain to help the brain relieve metabolitic acids, which would be essential to not getting brain lesions, because if you said which side of chemistry causes brain lesions, the alkaline electrolyte side? No. The acid side, that's the corrosive side. So now that takes you away from the blood. Because if the blood gets corrosive, you're dead. So it only puts you in one other location. That's the simplicity of healing. Okay? The fatigue, obviously when the adrenals are down, that's your neurotransmitters for the autonomic. The autonomic has the duality side. Isn't it interesting? The 1 and the 2. Interesting. But the duality is sympathetic, parasympathetic, push-pull. And that gets its neurotransmitters in the adrenals. Its seat is in the stomach area, so you could have GI tract problems, gastritis and all this in the gut, and have neurological problems from that. Feel chest pains from that, which people do. They get gas and they can feel chest pains from that. Neuropathy is just showing you that you're losing the nervous system, the myelin sheaths there. And that would be a case when the neurotransmitters go down, because as you weaken the adrenals, you see your blood pressure going down. Now, during this, the kidneys, of course, are responsible. So they're going down. And so your creatinine in your blood work will creep up. At the same time, this starts to build pressure. And pretty soon you have high blood pressure, which at first it was low blood pressure. You don't treat each one differently because it's the same causative problem. Go back to what side of chemistry would fail tissue, right? How does this all happen in the first place? One of the clues was the World Health Organization studies of 30 years or more dealing with proteins and the damage proteins have on the GI tract. Why? They're acid ash forming foods. And when you eat foods that have an acid ash, the blowback is acid, not alkaline. You need alkaline electrolytes, the electrons, to come in to those proton-dominant chemistries to bring a homeostatic or some degree of a balance there, or a neutralization, however you wish to look at that. The other problem is the lipids, because again, this is the lymphatic system. And if you have gallbladder problems, you might not be able to get enough lipids to properly maintain that. Remember, where does cholesterol come from? Liver, gallbladder. If you ever see the gallbladder stones, they're a cross between they're yellow and green, bile cholesterol. The neuropathy makes me feel as though I have a balled up sock under my foot. Oh yeah, I bet. When I'm not wearing any footwear at all, oh I know, feel like you have something there. My legs are also very heavy. I can't run at all, and my balance is compromised. Now, where does balance of the human body come from? Cerebellum, mastoids, right? So as you begin to back up lymphatically from failed kidney filtration, you then have an acid accumulation. So when you have an acid accumulation, acids are corrosive. So you start getting lesions. It can be in the liver, it can be anywhere. When the fluids itself are backing up, then you see the cysts and the tumors. The liver lipomas are simply a product of acidosis as well. I am 5'4", so this is interesting. At 5'4", you would then suspect pituitary involvement from the get-go. So that would lead you to the transverse colon. Don't make it complicated in that the colon is representative when you go back in time to when the egg opened up and became that tadpole, the embryo. That tadpole tail is your GI tract. It has a embryonic and symbiotic relationship to all tissues that came out of those gut tissues. So there's a neurological and a symbiotic relationship to all things, period. So when that goes down, in which man has eaten so many mucus-forming foods, look at white flour. What can we make out of white flour? Paper mache. Well, how hard can you get a paper mache ball? Throw it right through the drywall there. So, as white flour is nothing but glue, and you impact this glue along the bowel wall, we call that mucoid plaque. Medical doctors see that black plaque and they go, "Oh, you've been on herbs." I've never been on herbs. The stupidity out there. So when you see that, and of course people eat white flour sandwiches. So you have a protein entrapped in starch plastered on bowel walls. So you have putrefaction and fermentation taking place in the body from when you're babies. So they can get pretty bad. And then the treatment of lymphatic problems with antibiotics, blaming the bacteria for the problems, has then slammed everybody's lymph nodes to where then you can't break down these wastes. And antibiotics also have another element to it, suppressive to the lymph system. So anytime you suppress your sewer system, the picture isn't fun. The blowback to the body is not fun. And then when they see a cell that's been damaged, they think they have the right to go in, rip out your lymph nodes, which is where these cells should be in the first place, and then give you chemo, which is a hotter acid than the acid that created the lesions in the first place. The stupidity, and in my opinion, very criminal. If I gave someone Drano, they'd probably come lock me up. And that's just what they're giving everybody with the C word. And the C word just simply means you have cells being damaged by what side of chemistry? The acid side. So what system deals with the acid side? The lymphatic system. So what do they call cancers? Lymphomas. That's about as far as they get. You guys know a lot better because now you understand that the lymph system has eliminative organs tied to it, including the skin. And for your massage therapist, don't buy into this ridiculous theory that the body's going to dump metabolic acids, pounds of them, back into the venous system. That ranks as probably some of the more stupid ideas that they have. And to need all these wastes to the heart area, not a good idea. So this person has recently cut out all dairy and wheat and only eat wild-caught fish. Well, you know what I'm going to tell you, Matthew. I have mostly been following the Wells protocol for MS. Ain't going to get you nowhere. But without the meat, it's lots of greens and colored through veggies, fruits, including lots of berries. So I'm going to do you one better. And I've worked with a lot of what people are diagnosed with MS, neurological problems, from acute to chronic, where you're in wheelchairs, model, and can't talk anymore. And we've been able to take 99% of them and get them up out of there. Now, there's another component to adrenal weakness. What would that be? the emotions. So when you detox, Matthew, you're going to have emotions coming out with this, because you have to go after the adrenal glands. There is no protein on this planet that is beneficial for neurological weaknesses. Quite the opposite. Matter of fact, I've given plenty of examples of this, but the one case was a 43-year-old female, advanced MS, prone, stiff as a board. Ambulance brought her to see me. She was on a gurney. She was so stiff and tight she couldn't even turn her head to say, "Hi, Robert." So and she's this thick. I put her only on fruits. 2.5 months later, Matthew, she's wheeling herself and feeding herself from a stiff, prone position. I thought, well, look, greens, muscle builders, okay, you need some muscle, honey. I'm going to put you on greens. Gave her some salad or green drinks. Got a call from her caregiver. She can't move anymore. She what? She can't move anymore. If I hadn't have studied the electromagnetic energy in foods, I wouldn't have understood why. I'd have gone, well, I don't understand that. No, I understood that. Your nervous system is the electrical department. It is your energetic department. Without your nervous system, bye-bye. Bye-bye. So it's electricity. And the fruits have the highest electricity of all the foods on the planet. Berry second. You're going to head for that type of diet. And 100%, I would get my mind changed and go, you know what, I'm going 100% raw, no fish, that's meat, and I'm going to go fruits, period, fruits and berries. Heck yeah, because what are the berries good for? Anybody know? The endocrine glands. Look at all the berries. They match all the shapes of the endos. So you want berries, blueberries, blackberries, but fruit, fruit, fruit. Lots of grapes. I'd live on them. If it was me, I would live on them. Now I'm also going to recommend botanicals. I don't do anything without herbs much, because there are wonder little things and you can do almost anything with them. From cleaning to rebuilding tissue to super strengthening tissue. You can get yourself like the 256-year-old Chinese guy. Google him and watch his story. Interesting. Pituitary and adrenals. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. You're so right with that. Now, another consideration might be the parathyroid and calcium utilization. You might want to address that, because that would be what I would want to do, is address the parathyroid as well. Not only for nerve transmission, but for structure and connective tissue. So real vital to have that fixed. But you're also going into this gut tissue. You're going into these vital areas that everybody has and fix them. You're uniquely you in your genetic lineage. And and the beauty of iridology is that the eyes show you your uniqueness, but where you have the more serious problems. But you have to start getting this all drained and try to keep your spine as straight as possible. I have a chiropractor or someone keep that spine straight as possible, if indeed, that's part of it. And when you start getting bulging, compressing discs, it's all a sign of lymphatic stagnation. That's why there's these neural lymphatic points that go right down on each side of the spine. I'd be working those. They're even to the kidneys. To help you filter better in the kidneys, I'd be working on those neural lymphatic points, particularly around the L4, L5 region. But all down the back and the neck. I'm interested in hearing how you would approach these problems. Oh no, done it a lot of years, my man. I only recently discovered your site and am intrigued by the prospect of great fasting and botanical supplementation. And you, Matt, get her done. That's it. You don't want to go any further than where you are. You don't want to end up in a chair. You can't treat this problem. And you want to be real careful with the chemistry that comes in. And I've had a lot of years involved in Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, and MS. So I can tell you straight away, I'd be 100% fruits and go after the botanicals. You want to get your kidneys filtering? You want to fix why you have brain lesions. Well, it takes you right back. Simplicity in healing. Don't make it difficult. That's medical thinking. It doesn't matter what factors that are affected in blood work or anything, it doesn't matter. Because how you deal with this is the same as you would deal with a tumor in the liver. Why? Same system down. Different tissue affected, same system down. Broken record? Good. Good. Simplicity in healing. Yeah. And you will be fine, Matthew. Work yourself out of this, because the other side of it isn't too pleasant. This is from Rick Alba. Dear Dr. Morse, I thank you first and foremost for what you're doing to the world and to thank you, guys. Love you too. Although my writing might sound like a broken record, the fact of the matter is the writer is worse, as I'll probably take a few hours to write this. Holy crap. Around the time I was in elementary, my health began to take a plunge. And that is why I do this. The kids, we can grab them right out. And then lower in elementary and all these lower young ages and turn this around so they have a life. Every year getting worser and worser. Till this day, I'm not sure how I managed to pass high school or even stay in seated for so long. Wow. I was diagnosed with MS. Wow, here we go. When I was 14. Oh, bro. 14. That's why this antiquated medical thinking and all this, that has to be blown by the wayside, because we know what's up. We know how to fix these. It's just getting that message out to people and getting them on the road to Wellville and getting them done. Working with them. Genetics are getting deeper and deeper. More chronic level problems. 14. You know, also you beauticians, be careful with chemistry. You know, all these chemicals and the beauty salons. MS and the brain cancers, top beauticians. I hope to see my 20th birthday this September. You will, man. Although at times even having went a 2-year-ish vegan diet, I have only seen small improvements. Yeah, you can't go vegan. You got to go fruitarian, and there's big reasons for it. Not only the chemistry, the matching electronics for the nervous system, the astringents, I mean, everything is there. And they're Homo sapien foods. Because we are the top of the neurological heap of all the animals. And we don't eat dead food because you can demonstrate. Matter of fact, you know, for those of you who are running through this with neurological problems, take off for about 4 months on fruit. See how good you get, and then break it and get on the crap again. See what happens. Yeah. The proof is right there in your face. You don't have to believe anybody's word. Just take it. Just have the faith to take off on these fruit diets. And you have tons of people doing it, so I think you can pretty much assume that it works well. And then go out and have you some bad food. You can feel the kick big time. I don't know how to put my experience in words other than I feel as if I've had a rubber band being placed on my personality and emotions. Absolutely. Since as far back as I can remember. And the reason again is those adrenal glands deal with the emotional side, the astral body. That's your connection. They're like chakras for the Indians people. And the endocrine glands, when they go down, you go down. They're the controllers. And they control through their productions of hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, and the like. Without those, you get to see what happens. Low steroids, you get to see what happens. Low neurotransmitters, you get to see what happens. And again, dealing with the case before you with MS. I'm quick to get mad at the slightest thing, and when sitting down, I feel a strong sense of suffocation. Yeah, holy crap. You know, all that sucks. You know, let me tell you. But to work out of this, you must electrify yourself. And that includes high electrolytes, high magnetic energies, and that translates into wellness. The herbs are tissue specific. So they get into the body and they go after these cells. Good creator, huh? And probably a little liver going on there with you, you know. Clean that out as well. I do that on everybody. Is that, you think that's wrong? Maybe that's putting everybody on a stamp type of program. One size fits all. Does everybody want their liver and gallbladder cleaned? Does everybody want to have good adrenals and kidneys? Everybody want to have a strong nervous system? If you call that one size fits all, proud to wear it. This is the same with my sleep position as well. Well, you know, when you start getting up in the central nervous system and you start dealing with the GI tract and then you get in the pituitary pineal area, and that's your spiritual gland, of course, the pineal, hooked to the 1,000-petal lotus, if you will, you know, that can take the toll on rest. If you have insomnia, that's your pineal gland. So we go after these. We get blood flowing up in the head more aggressively. So upper circuit, brain, and nerve are two formulas that anybody, I love it for everybody. Is that wrong to increase blood flow? Anybody want to not increase blood flow in your brain so you can feel better, think better, see better, right? Get rid of the brain fog. Anybody not want that? One size fits all. How about brain and nerve? Anybody want to enhance their mind and their brain and enhance their awareness? One size fits all. My muscles quiver every time I drink spring water or even salt. You crave salt? And again, another side. Those of you that crave salt, that's sodium, and where do you go for that? The adrenal glands. So those of you that have bigger adrenal gland weaknesses, the craving of salt comes in. What is the craving for sugars? Right? More fungal, right? Particularly breads, cheeses, fermented foods. I've been meditating, having only to put a bandage on a shotgun wound. Every day my torment and agony begins the moment I sit down to eat. I begin to eat and all of a sudden after a few bites I'm bloated to the point where my emotions take over my actual being. That's what I'm saying here. I said that earlier. Right here in the gut is the brain, if you will, or the seat of the autonomic nervous system. So when this is highly inflamed, and how does something get highly inflamed and swell? If you're nothing but cells and two fluids, and the two fluids flow around the cells, how do you get swelling? Does blood make you swell being base chemistry? No. The lymph system is the only system. Broken record, broken record. That's the only system that deals with the acid side of chemistry, and of course that's where you get the osmotic move of water. And so, absolutely. And again, that's why would I want to fix everybody's GI tract? Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, so that's why you always want to work. That's why you see my protocols the way they are. I've had almost 50 years now looking at this going, you know what? We got to fix this because this is linked to this, and then we got to fix this because this is linked to this, and then this is linked to this. And you can't just isolate and go after the nervous system with MS. You can't just, you have to deal with the brain lesions. How do you get the brain lesions? You know, you have to look at the body as a whole. You have to look at life as a whole. It's okay to use the mind and get into isolates and pointed thinking, if you will. But if you don't have the whole view, then you become lost. And now you're taking supplements trying to change all types of matrices in the body. Or you want more oxygen in the body and things like that instead of fixing why you don't. So I have personality disconnect myself from any friends and stuff, and I don't blame you. Because, again, you'll start going, it's closing off. That's what acids do to you. They close you off. They agglomerate you and close you off and model you back and then destroy you. That's the nature of the acid side of chemistry. That's why the dominance of chemistry on a livable planet with beings that deal with this level is going to be a base dominant planet. And that's just what you're seeing, a base-dominant planet. So I feel for you there, Rick. I know what you're going through here. Any complaint I say, they completely dismiss and act as if nothing was said. Yeah, you know, the more difficult thing is your sometimes parents' lack of understanding, and you can let them review this video if you wish, but their total lack of understanding. Some parents are just freaked out. They don't know what to do. In the medical profession, they don't have a clue. Oh, we have a new drug. I remember a nurse killed one of my Lou Gehrig's cases. He was coming out of it, but there's a new drug on the market. And he fell for that. But that one had fatal events tied to it, and he was one of the victims of that. Yeah, I mean, but nobody paid a price for that. It's okay. The FDA said we can kill an X amount of people, and it's okay. Is it really? You know, I tell you, the FDA is a highly criminal organization that their time is coming. You know, you can close us and come after us, but some of us are not going to take it anymore, guys. You've got to pull back and start waking up to what you've been doing. You know, there's no pharmaceutical set for the savior of man. It's a lack of your understanding of what caused man's problems. Simplistic in healing. Demonstrated the world over by us. We've demonstrated in every country there is out there. All you beautiful people that are working at and getting your health back is showing this criminal, disgruntled world just what simplistic and healing is all about. Cool stuff. I don't socialize because it's all made up in my head. I know, and you know what? You just have to get your world focused, get your consciousness focused on your world, and go into that fruit, high level of fruit. I would start off on a grape diet right now. If you want to throw some berries and stuff, okay. But you want to really get focused on this high energetic and try to get organic if possible. And if you don't, and even if you do, you want to use a veggie wash big time and then wash the veggie wash off. Because these are neurotoxins. Pesticides and herbicides are neurotoxins. Perfumes. Tell your mom, don't wear perfumes around me. Neurotoxic. A lot of things are neurotoxic. Some essential oils can be neurotoxic. So be careful. Keep your life pure. My brother wanted to put me on medicine for the sake of keeping me from complaining even more. I can no longer eat while sitting down. Yeah, I can see that. And then, of course, the kidneys and adrenal matrix, too. Positional issues. Due to this condition, I can no longer eat literally anything other than fruits and salads. But that's where it pushes you. It pushes you up to that. I ditched the salads, by the way, and just take fruits and berries. But that's where nature pushes you. It pushes you up to where you can only eat the things that benefit you. Or put you into fasting states. And some of the more advanced depleted cases have a hard time fasting, but it isn't us, it's nature that puts you there. You lose all desire for food and everything else. Your body doesn't want anything. It wants to heal itself because the food you've been putting in has been acid ash foods. And the blowback is the body's ravaging itself of calcium and all the electrolytes just to keep a balance because destruction is at hand. Brain lesions is a form of destruction of tissue. Well, there's only one side of chemistry that does that. Simplistic in healing. I can no longer go out and run like I used to, but you will. Now, you might, you want to get a picture of your eyes and take a look at it. Take a look at that pancreas. You might have to take some herbs for the pancreas, liver, gallbladder. It makes sense to me that you would have some of this because of the liver gallbladder involvement. You could have anger from that, but also it would flip because they're all right there, it branches off the tree, right? And so you want to go into that pancreas and increase digestive issues. But that's another reason why fruit, guys. It is the simplest food to digest. It yields you more energy just from the very food itself, but also the simplistic digestive processes yield you more energy there. You have to realize that digestion is an energetic experience. The harder it is for your body to break apart food, the more energy loss you have in doing that. If you're neurologically weak, and you're having proteins which are highly complex and acidic hitting at first, and then all your complex starches, then any complex food, beans, grains, you're taking a lot of energy, and then if you combine them, you're setting up fermentation and putrefaction. You stop digestion completely. So the innervation from that, the neurological innervation from that is big. So this is why fasting, it's a resting state. So you're not depleting more neurologically, because everything takes energy, everything. But also when you learn to stop thinking and get out of the way of thoughts and become awake again, you're connecting to the life force of prana directly. You're becoming that. And that is the greatest healer of all. You're just consuming it in forms called foods. And fruits and berries are the highest forms of the prana or life force you can get in terms of a consumable food. I feel as if my true being has been calcified and locked away. I'd agree with you 100%, Rick, 100%. I've tried digestive enzymes and I lose awareness in my environment. Those check, yeah, no. Yeah, and then you get to where the body can't digest even with them anymore. I mean, it's, you can't treat. Now, if I can tell you I've learned anything in all these years of working with humans, it's, you can't treat. You've got to clean and rebuild. Clean and rebuild. And the process is the same. As you can imagine, I have no job, in debt from credit cards. Oh my God, man. Well, I'll tell you what, bro. Get a hold of us here and we'll help you as much as we can. That's for sure. I've lost so much fat and muscle these past months, and you will now, because you've got to go on a fruit diet. And your parents can't wig out because your automobile, your car, is going into the body shop. And your car in a body shop does not look nice and new. It's going to be going through malabsorption issues, all types of things to fix itself. So you're going to see some ups and downs. Excessive thinness, real problem if you're malabsorbed. Understanding that and understanding why should help a lot of you make through this, because you'll put it back on. There's a time for building, and this isn't it. This is the time to hydrate and move these acids out of the body, or forget building. You have to take care of one thing at a time, although what's cool as all get out, you'll see the building process during the cleansing process. I mean, the divine is so cool. I just, from topic to topic, thought to thought, mind, I've added, I've always been eating cooked processed foods over the years. I know, no one has been there to help you. But, to be honest with you, take a look at this. Reduce your risk, right? Look, it's all raw foods, right? 1986 American Cancer Society. You ever see this around? Hell no. Matter of fact, I used to speak quite frequently to the breast cancer group, the women group, and the man-to-man prostate cancer group. Guys ever see this? No. You want a cookie and Kool-Aid? No. So, we can help you as much as we can. This is why I was bitching on the video in the past, because and there are some of you that are really contributing and helping, and God bless all of you that can do that, because we have a lot of hurting people like this, and we can only do so much without going bankrupt. But we're here to help you, and by God we'll do that to any extent we can, because this suffering has got to end. Monday I learned something new, and by the time Tuesday morning comes, I've already forgotten it. Yeah, I bet. Well, I hope your parents can review this and help you to get your world back again, because you will. You will. And to be completely transparent with you, I don't even remember what I have most of the time. This whole life thing just feels like I'm just waiting for it to pass me by. And this lad is only 20. Only 20. It's sickening, sickening that we have such an arrogant allopathic system that has no clue how you fix things because they don't have a clue to what causes them. If you don't have a clue about chemistry and physics and how it all works, the missing element is the lymphatic system. But it's not understood at all. And then the other missing element is the acid ash and the alkaline ash foods and the way they're taught. You know, like Pat, our A&P professor. She's restricted by her university of what she can teach. Really? I thought universities were about truth. Nah. This whole life thing, I feel for you. I feel like I'm a 90-year-old man in a 19-year-old body. I believe that totally. And there's only one side of chemistry that breaks you down. All your metabolitic waste, these are acids, guys. It's like car exhaust. Those are not alkalis coming out. These are acids. The byproducts of industry is acidic. Power plants, all this stuff. That's why the air is getting so acidic. Paint's being taken off of cars. Remember I told you, ladies can stick your hand or toes in the waters in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and it'll take your fingernail polish off. You know, the park rangers have been complaining about this acid environment for a long time because they get to see the mutated frogs and fish from all this. The plant life is getting mutated from all this acid air and acid rain. Where does it come from? What's car exhaust? You know, I was down in the Dominican, and I can tell you, they don't have catalytic converters. And boy, can you tell it, you burn. Breathing the air burns. I can't imagine China. Burning you. When the air you breathe burns you, that's serious crap, brother. And people got to wake up. If there's one world, it's got to be a spiritual world where people understand the truth and not have power and control over others because it's a money thing. A money thing. What do you do with money? Spend, buy things. Really? When you're like this young man would give anything to have his health back. What about that kind of money? So we're going to help you get your health back for sure. I have many goals and many plans. You have to get better, absolutely. And there's absolutely no way my dreams and aspirations can be buried with me. You're not going to be buried, young lad. We're going to get you out of this, okay? All right, so if you need the finances for the herbs, you get a hold of our clinic, and Jennifer, she gets all the emails anyway, and she's the big boss woman. And she's the one that says yay or nay, and you can say, I put you at the top of the list to get some of this. Earlier yesterday, I began the all-fruit detox diet. Good, my lad. Which to my conception is all fruits, berries, and melons. Absolutely. By the way, I'm fairly certain my adrenal glands are swollen. I bet. Yeah, and that's why when you sit down too, you know, that can also change the neurotransmitter production. It affects all kinds of things. My kidneys hurt a lot. Again, this is where your problems are, and you feel them. People just don't understand that, but by learning this, you'll understand my kidneys are, you know why, that's your lymphatic system. Those are the doorways out. And so, you know, I mean, one poor young lady right now today is having her kidney removed, her right kidney. She's probably going to do it. Bone cancer since she was about 14 or 12, I think. No one to help her. So at 20 years old, she's going through a procedure that could end her life because if they don't hook up her lymphatic system correctly, she could have major lymphedema on the right side, and that'll take you out eventually. It's just, it takes out the body. Remember that. We're just talking about bodies here, not you. You can't kill yourself. You can't die because your consciousness, your awareness. So take a deep breath with that. But being locked in a prison called the physical body and these lower levels of acidosis is horrible. It's like being in a prison like you're stating here. And I didn't read some of the things he said, guys, because I'll cry if I read them. My kidneys hurt a lot when I eat heavier foods. Duh. Oatmeal, eggs, quinoa, beans, etc. Duh. And I take roughly 1 to 3 days to pass stool. All right, so when you start getting hooked up here with the herbs, you let them know, because I want you to stool every day. That's vital, because some of this lymph is going to dump through your bowels here. And that's with much abdomen massaging and leafy greens. No, we want fruit. It'll help you move better. But remember, everything's a neurological event, including peristalsis. So when those adrenals are down, your peristalsis can go down. Of course, the wall of your small bowel, where absorption takes place predominantly, the wall of your colon, the wall of the stomach, all backs up lymphatic, because what is in the wall of all your organs and glands? Cells. Cells make up all of your organs and glands. And what's around every cell? Interstitial spaces. Spaces. Well, what's these spaces for? Blood and lymph. And remember, lymph dominates. But acids are the most aggressive side of chemistry, too. And that's with much... Okay, Dr. Morse, you're the last line of hope now. I'll help you, my man. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Get her done. There's 2 MS cases right there. And if they get up on any of the Facebook, any of you guys that overcome that, please talk to them, because plenty of you had. I've gotten your letters, so... Z. Paul Thomas, reversing cerebral palsy. Yeah, look at that young man that we have up there. That's a cerebral palsy case, 7 years old. To show you what's going on there. Pretty cool, huh? So, is there any difference between the cerebral palsy and MS? No. Same reason why. If you want to live in the mental world of isolates and the theories of allopathy, go ahead. You see where that gets anybody? Nowhere. Nowhere land, man. Because simplicity in healing. So I have cerebral palsy and have been trying to reverse the symptoms. I have been watching your YouTube videos on health, and I wanted to see about your herbs and what I can do to reverse it. So on all cases, you're going to always go after your kidneys and adrenal glands. Always. I highly recommend 2 liquid tinctures, 2 different kidney tinctures, if not 3. People are not filtering. We know that dry fasting now helps filtering, thanks to a lot of you guys. So you want at least 2 tinctures, kidney tinctures, of different herbs. There's so many great kidney herbs on the planet. You want something for your adrenal glands. I use a glandular at first because they're so weak, I want to pop them. If your blood pressure is too low, you've got to add a little licorice in with your adrenal gland formulas. And I like formulas. Okay, so now where else do I want to go? I want to go to the lymph system. Now initially, I highly recommend you only use 1 lymphatic formula, generally our lymphatic 1. Don't try to pull on the lymph system too aggressively until the kidneys are opened up, or your lymph nodes could swell, tumors could get bigger, because you're pulling on a system, astringing a system where the doors are closed. If you don't sweat, get your thyroid up, use thyroid herbs or a glandular, and get yourself up and get your basal temperatures under your arms so close to 98, so you can get your ability to sweat, get out in the sun. The problem with neurological cases, anything acidic can make you weaker, and the sun is acidic. So you can actually get weaker out in the sun by it being so hot. And this is another true with hot baths. You know, hot baths can make you weaker. An MS case or a neurological case can go right up north where it's cold. You'll do better. You'll breathe better. Notice? Because you're acidic, highly acidic, and anything alkaline helps you to breathe better, helps everything better. And cold is alkaline. Fruits are cooling because acids are the problem, and they're heating. So you've got those. Now I got to go after this GI tract because it's electrically hooked to all parts of the body. That's why the raw foods have an electrical release as it's moving through the small bowel, which is sending electricity to all parts unknown or known. So there's a lot of reasons why the raw. But you want to always clean up the gut because all this white flour products, the cheeses, the milks have glued up and mucused up the human body. And so what do you notice when you start hydrating yourself with alkaline chemistry? Mucus coming out all over the place. Where'd you get it? So once you get a lot of this out of you, on the raw, you don't get mucus from raw foods, then just go have you an ice cream cone. You can feel clogged immediately. Oh my God. Proof's right there. You don't have to read it in a book. Although Arnold Ehret talks a lot about it in his books. I've been vegan for 1.5 years. I've been taking a liver detoxing using essential oils and a colon cleanse. That's good. It's a good start. Cleaning, working on the gut, getting the liver, the stones out of the liver gallbladder. That's all good. But you want to turn on the electrical department. You want to go to your fruits, your berries, and your melons. Period. Just like these MS cases. Upper circulation of brain and nerve. Why? I want to improve. If you don't have tumors, then I highly recommend you use upper and lower circulations because blood is 20 to 25% of interstitial fluid. I want to move electricity through the nervous system. The goodies are coming in from the kitchen. I want to get that kitchen moving better in the body, wouldn't you? Yeah. Would we want to do that on everybody? Whether you're a neurological case or not? Yeah. Now, since you are dealing in neurons and the central, I'm going to recommend brain and nerve formulas that are for neurons, for the nervous systems. So I'm going to recommend upper and lower circulation and brain and nerve formulas. Now, what else is vital to the human body? How about in nerve transmission? Calcium. Well, where does mineral utilize? Where's the metabolism of minerals start? Adrenal steroids, except for calcium. We're up here in the parathyroids. So again, you guys learn a lot about the parathyroids, which most physicians are going, naturopaths are not taught nothing about them. No, 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 no. A world of depression is coming out of this. Postpartum, poor moms are losing their teeth, their bones, all of this because they have parathyroid. Of course, the babies can't grow properly. Their nervous system doesn't grow properly because of a lack of calcium, because they have a problem. So vital to understand the endocrine glands, the bosses of the body. So I'm always going to go after them with herbs, berries. And most of the formulas you'll notice for the endos have a lot of berries in them. I need something that can remove ammonia and heavy metals from the brain. Yeah. Well, you've got to get your adrenals and metabolism properly. Get away from complex sugars. And, of course, all proteins. You want simple sugars, essential. Ribose, simple sugars. There's a lot of simple sugars in the human body that are essential. This is your carbon side of life. This is your energetic side of life. And without that, nothing works. It isn't a protein world. And heavy metals from the brain. Yeah, you've got to take a look at vaccines, the thimerosols, the mercuries from the teeth. You want, if you've got mercuries, all of you neurological cases, get those mercuries out of your teeth. From vaccinations, we have all the thank you, pharmaceutical. I thought this was supposed to help us. No? Hook to Dr. Tenpenny's website. Dr. Tenpenny, she's a medical doctor that's been heavy on this. She went into CDC centers and showed that the CDC centers lied. Everybody lies. No, we don't. We're God people. We don't need to lie. We need to teach you the truth so you can have a better experience in life. When you have a better experience, we have a better experience. Don't you agree? Absolutely. If you're all having a good day, I'm going to have a good day with you. From the brain, I've been taking ginger essential oils to remove ammonia. That'll just detox the lymph system, my man. Get your skin sweating, by the way, and you'll smell it. I also have a metabolic condition where I can't break down, I can't even pronounce that, trimethylamine, and it causes a body odor at times. What system are you talking about, my man? What system are you talking about when you're trying to eliminate byproducts of proteins and byproducts of any metabolism? You're back to the lymphatic system again. Back to the lymphatic system again. Don't fall where you have this or genetic this and won't let you do this. You can't do this. You get your eliminative organs working. The stool is only digestive elimination waste. Where's your cellular digestive waste? Kidneys and skin. What's dandruff? The inability to move lymph out of the head. So where does it go? Out the skin. What happens if you don't clean the dandruff off of your scalp? Get a little red. It's like if you don't change a diaper on a baby in a timely manner, they get a rash. Why? Urine is supposed to be acidic. Why? That's your metabolic waste coming out. And if you don't get them away from the body, they burn back on the body. It's right there in everybody's face. My dad has Yeah. You know, this is a world of hurting, brother. My dad has stage 3 multiple myeloma blood plasma cancer. Easy to fix, guys. Easy to fix. What does a dad have to do to fix himself? Same thing. Same thing. Same diet. Looks like dad and son need to get together and do the same thing. You want to refurbish your blood. It isn't greens that does it. Fruits and berries, baby. And you want the best you can get. And again, you want to wash them. Herbicides, pesticides, these are all neurotoxins. Be careful. What's neurotoxic around you? You go out and eat, make sure the restaurant washer uses like Friday's Fit. You know, Friday's uses Fit. He is eating better and he got off of chemo in January. Well, now he's got to fix the damage that chemo's done to him. So he needs to do just what you do. He was on chemo for 3 months and he was, I don't know what you meant here, diagnosed, I guess, in October. He is experiencing neuralgic neural pain in the legs and feet. Well, that's because the chemo's chewing him up. It chews you up. You don't treat an acid condition with more acids. That should be a criminal offense. Nope. These guys are allowed to give you Drano. Yeah, because you got a condition that's incurable. In our field, yeah. In their field, they can't cure anything. They've neglected to tell you that. They don't cure high blood pressure. My 3-year-old, which I don't have, but if I had, would be able to cure high blood pressure. Give me a break. I mean, this is the sort of thing that's insane when you have a group called physicians that can't cure anything. What is up with that? What's up with that is they don't understand what causes anything. And if you don't understand the cause and you're just trying to treat the symptom, and that's all your research and all the pharmaceuticals are involved in, failed system greatly. And when you've made it dominate the world, you've created some extremely bad karma for yourselves and everyone else that falls in line with that, unfortunately. Sad state of affairs. But glad you get this out of you big time. This is something we've worked on for years and never really had a problem with that. And your dad sounds like he needs to get with this too. So you and your dad go together and get your health back and you'll be a happy person, I guarantee you. Julio, hi Dr. Morse, I have MS. There's another multiple sclerosis case. I still have full function of my body, yeah, but want to tackle this. Absolutely, good man. You got to. I'm on a strict grape lemon diet and will continue trying intermittent dry fasting. Now this is what you go for. This is the kind of focus you want. This lad is going to get himself well. Fasting to jumpstart kidney filtration. I'm still not filtering after 2 weeks. I know. And some people, one guy told me it took him 6 months. I'm going, 6 months? That's the state of affairs of our kidneys. That's, if you want to know the scary thing, that's the scary thing, is a lack of filtration of your sewer system. You pee water, where's all your metabolic acids going? You notice all that oatmeal that comes out of the tumors on Dr. Pimple Popper? That's what you're peeing out. That's why you see that same sediment here. That same sediment here. Same stuff. It's just they're not accumulating. You're eliminating. And that's the secret. Don't accumulate, because the blowback isn't good. I'm still not filtering after 2 weeks, and I'm being impatient. Yeah, relax. Just relax. Because if you get impatient too much, there goes the adrenal glands. Then they shut down the kidneys more. And so stress does get you. But it gets the adrenal glands. That's your emotional stressor organs, or glands. And then, of course, they affect the organs of the kidneys. And, of course, that's your lymph system. And then, of course, there's your neurotransmitters of the nervous system. And your lymphatic system, and all of that. So it all's there. I'm a law student on a tight budget. He's got heart palpitations, constipation, low libido. I'm not taking herbs. I'm a law student on a tight budget. What would you recommend? The spiritual rewards, I suspect, are around the corner. Boy, we could talk about that one all day. Absolutely. You should have a video up by now with me and Kyle. We talk a little spiritually. Don't let that freak you out too much, but that's where the spiritual rewards are, truly. You're going to be a Perry Mason, huh? Be a Perry Mason. If you want to make good money, get into government overreaching and how you stop people like the FDA. And my legal team is very good at government overreach. So maybe hook up sometime, and a lot to learn about that, because a lot in law you're not taught for a lot of good reasons. You know what I mean? Power and control at every level. Even the bar is corrupt as hell. No offense. Hi, I suffered a TBI a year ago, and unfortunately had a seizure around 5 days after, and therefore I'm on that's a pharmaceutical every day, and have been told I need to do so for 5 years. I'm a bit concerned as what's the natural remedy for healing brain trauma and nerve regeneration, please. I have watched Dan, the Life Regenerator, on YouTube, and he suggested some raw fruit and juice. In your opinion, what would be a full protocol to heal this issue and stop any neurological issues? Kindest regard, Sami, S-A-M-I. Well, first of all, the Life Regenerator was exactly right. You want to be on fruit only and fruit juice, absolutely. The grape is the most robust, of course, but any fruit, and berries and melons. That's why I picked those three. The easiest to digest, the most energetic. The fruits and berries being the top of the heap of all three, of course. However, I'm going into, and I would use an antispasmodic, an herbal antispasmodic, and I take it right along with my regular dosages, because that'll help from seizing again. I would use a circulation formula, lower and upper, to help dilate the vascular system, to keep blood and energy going to the cells. I know that I have to remove acids out of these tissues, because that's where you get into the loss of calcium and all this in the first place, and the unbalancing of chemistry, and the making all this highly vulnerable to TIAs and all these type of strokes and mini strokes and all kinds of things like this. Blood clots the same way. It all falls under more acidic, less enzymatic foods. So you want high enzymatic foods. If you looked at this, you could almost say that raw fruits and berries are antispasmodics and anti-inflammatories. Anything alkaline is going to be an antispasmodic and an antacid, or an anti-inflammatory, which is basically antacids. Exactly what it is. It's all the same thing. But there are herbs that are stronger with that. And I put them in a formula for convulsions and spasms and things like this. Very important. I would also make sure my parathyroid is giving me some good calcium. Look at your eyes. There's a lot of symptoms you would have when the parathyroid is down, from cramping in the muscles to bruising easy, to spider veins, varicose veins, hernias, aneurysms, things like this. A lot of spasticity, cramping in the muscles, growing pains, rigid fingernails, things like that. Wrinkled skin, that sort of thing. So I would look at that, of course. I'm going after the same, I'm going to cookie stamp you. I'm going to same size fits all. Where are you going to go? That's why I'm doing these particular videos, simplistic and healing. So I'm glad that one lady who has all these degrees, who thinks that we just rubber stamp everybody. So I sit back and say, what did you learn with all those degrees you got? I remember I was telling you I thought I would have all these degrees and that would make people understand I knew what I was talking about because I had all these degrees on the wall. And then I realized how stupid that was, and I had a lot of them at one time. I just started tearing them up and throwing them away. If you don't understand what I have to teach, then the degree on the wall doesn't mean crap. I had to get a lot of people healed so you would trust the fact that I knew what I was talking about, though. And the faithful stuck with me, and I healed a lot of good people. And that built a strong reputation, because you don't get a reputation without healing people. I mean, some people do somehow. I don't know how they do. It just shows you that if you help people a little bit, you can get a reputation. I'm a bit concerned as what's the natural remedy for healing brain. Yeah, so that is a big deal. Healing brain trauma, or any trauma in the body, the lymph system is the system that removes trauma. When cells are damaged, they don't go, the blood doesn't deal with this. No, the lymphatic system does. What's in the lymph nodes that deals with damaged cells? Macrophages. Those are your cannibal cells. Those are the cells that gobble up other cells. Macrophages. And they're all in the lymph nodes with the bacteria. You've got that for the cells and the bacteria for the metals or for the acids. Slick. Unless you kill them with antibiotics, blaming them for the problem. And then you lock your patient into Hellville or put them down the road to it. It's scary out there when you understand the truth. But that's the way I would go. I'd go after all my endocrine glands. I'd go after just what I've been talking about on this video, but I just did one on the simplistic of healing. These are the areas that you're going to go in on everybody, on yourself, because it's that system. Wherever you're genetically weak, and the cool thing here, Dr. Jensen pointed this out, and he did not understand the lymphatic system that well. No one has. But he was able to tell in iridology that in your weaker areas, the lymphatic system was compromised. And sure enough, you can see around all these lacunas a lymph wall, a swollen wall, if you will, around that tissue, just like you see in malabsorption. You see that thick wall. They mistakenly call it the autonomic nerve sheath. It is not. It is simply your bowel wall and the shape of your bowel wall, whether it's prolapsed, ballooned, spastic, pocketed, all that shows up in your eye. And how malabsorbed are you? Because that thickness of that wall can be related to how thick the malabsorption ring is around your pupil. Cool stuff. Fun stuff. That's what we learned in our iridology class. But that's how I would go after it. Circulations, brain and nerves, and antispasmodics to help with that, because you don't want to have another one. And then I'm going after the lymphatic system aggressively. Blood, I'm already taking care of that with a raw diet. I'm not giving it any more acid ash foods, and I'm giving it high electrolyte foods, high energetic foods. So I'm moving energy into these areas. Alkaline chemistry, so I'm starting hydration that way. I'm going to use herbs to start fixing some of these tissues that are weakened or that need to be enhanced. One size fits all? Yep. A little more when you have neurological cases than not, but I put everybody on brain and nerve, because remember, we can see type 1 as a neurological. In other words, the beta cells can stop producing insulin from the autonomic nerve weakness, not from beta cell weakness. And also the central connection to that. So you're getting in and literally hydrating and enhancing the body's electricity and hydrating the sewer system, which becomes agglomerated from acid accumulation. And it's the acid ash foods that have damaged the kidneys. And if anybody's proving that, even though I have so-so thoughts about the World Health Organization, they're doing studies, long-term studies, to prove that acid ash foods like proteins causes what they call colon cancer. We know it is simply an acid blowback to tissue. Well, accentuate that 100 times when you go on chemo. Yep. It's insanity, if you ask me. So here's another case. Dr. Morse, I was diagnosed with MS in 1997. Holy moly. Before I experienced extreme fatigue, bedwetting, numbness. Now, we know we've got some CNS problems because you've got central nervous system problem because you have bedwetting. That's a pituitary problem. So right then, you knew that you had problems where you got numbness from that. I mean, from all this acidosis. Now I am 62, male, feeling young, bedridden, urinary catheter, bed sores, unable to stand up, walk, right hand, very weak, left slightly better. I can't talk easily, slight weakening. I am staying in nursing home, Warsaw, Poland. I've been listening to you for 3 years, and I see your way of coming back to health as the only way, and it is. I guarantee you've been around a long time, guys. How can I get to the Costa Rica clinic? Please inform me. I trust you with all my heart. Bogdan. Wow. Somebody help this guy get to Costa Rica. I tell you, Marcy got a client down there with 9 tumors. They put him on a coconut water fast and all 9 tumors came out. Pretty damn good. Yeah, and you want to get on some herbs too, man. You can get all this back out of there though, but it's going to take you probably 6 months to get yourself at least up and out of the bed and walking a little bit with a stroller. That's generally what we see when you're at this level. But you're going to work on your pituitary and all this other type of stuff so you'll help the urinary issues. The bed sores are just that just shows you what acid accumulation does. And sometimes they're hard to heal because you're trying to heal a highly acidic area. And it's hard to get regeneration in an acidic medium because an acid medium dictates a corrosive medium. So, and unless you remove the corrosive medium, the acid accumulation, healing is slow. So we pack bed sores with all kinds of things. That's why I did the burn skin sap, to pack the cubitus with that, bed sores, things like that. But still, your success is accelerated by getting the kidneys to filter and get the lymphatic system hydrated and moving through the kidneys and skin. And of course, you got to go that route to get these acids out to rebuild the nervous system. At the same time, again, I'm working with circulation formulas, I'm working with brain and nerve herbs, I'm working with the endocrine gland, I'm working on the GI tract. Because you have to probably go days without stooling, I would imagine. And I try to get stools because, again, for some of these people, difficult to transfer to have stool, to get to a toilet. So, and then a lot of times caregivers are every 3 days or 2 days or something. I mean, it becomes very problematic and intensive work for people. This is why my heart goes out to this. But healing we can. So somebody help this gentleman get to Costa Rica, or somebody help him over there in Poland to get on a good program here. Maybe the nursing home can get turned on to this and learn some things about proper nutrition and why we don't serve acid ash foods to people as they get in nursing homes. It just makes them go downhill. I've got cases where I pulled these people right out of nursing homes. I remember I had a case where a mother and a son came to me one time. The mother, or the wife, said, my husband's been in a nursing home for several years now. He can't hardly talk or can't walk. He's bedridden. I can't remember if he had a feeding tube or we had one put in him, but that was in July. By Christmas, I had him home playing with these kids. It's a good case. So it just shows you what we can do in these hellholes. I know these places. I've been in a lot of them, and I love them because they're, difficult for kids to take care of parents. But some of them are little hellholes, and the dietitians don't know their butt from a hole in the ground when it comes to nutrition. It's not their fault, because our society is set up the way it is, and the power and influence of allopathy has been nothing short of horrible, criminal. So we need to turn that around, don't we? So let's see what we can do, Bogdan. See what we can do to help you there. But we don't have a lot of finances to help all these people. It's a lot of people are in serious trouble. And if there was ever any need of those with the finances to help, this is the level of it. It'd be nice if someone out there with money would manage a foundation to help people. We don't want to manage anything like that. We don't want to be accused of nothing. People accuse everybody anyway. Sad, What time? We have time for another one? Yeah. This is Lynn, a female, eh? I love your videos, and they are helping me tremendously. Thank you. Thank you, dear one. Also studying for level 1. Yeah, we're going to have a good level 1. Our resident A&P professor, she's coming down. She's going to spend a couple hours with you going over A&P, your body a little more involved, so that'll be fun for you. The last time she was here, everybody went crazy over her, so that'll be fun. She's a fun kid, too. Fun. Like I said, we're trying to put together a naturopathic school, but we're almost so busy it's difficult. She also has an online A&P class, and she's expanding that to help add what we've discovered with the kidneys and things, and so it's exciting. She's a healer herself. I went through medical school. She also is a biochemistry teacher as well, so fun stuff. It's fun to learn, and if anything, I hope I can teach you simplistically so it's fun to learn about the body. Now, a lot of you have told me, oh, it's the parathyroid, right? Yeah. Isn't that cool? It's fun to learn when you're having fun to learn and feeling good because you're feeling better by learning too. So I always thought, it's fun. Even Montessori can learn how to teach better even. And learn how to help those souls maintain awareness when they get here. And at the same time, how to use their mind and emotions. We're talking about creating a much higher level of human species, of course. Number 1, my best friend's son is 15 and has Morphin syndrome. I'm not sure I remember what that is. 15 years old, though. I have researched your videos and not found any information in this area. Both parents are nurses and leery about herbs. Too bad. Too bad for the 15-year-old. This is what gets me. You get nurses. And there's a holistic nursing association up here in Sarasota. It's probably 500 members strong. These are the good nurses. In my opinion, you have 2 types of nurses in my 5 years of spending in hospitals, emergency rooms and nuclear medicine and code teams and the like. You have nurses that think they know it all. That's after 2 years of study. And then you have those nurses that have the hearts bigger than the moon. So, the problem with young people, they have an unlimited ability to learn. And their only restriction to learn is their parents and the schools and the people teaching them. Soul consciousness is unlimited in the ability to perceive and learn here. They're only limited, like I say, by the informationals. But it's enough to say that no matter what part of the body that you're having problems with, the cause is always the same. Simplistic and healing. If you get trapped in the concept of diseases and this sort of thing, then you're stuck. You're not going to have a good day, and neither are your kids. Genetics is factual. Every cell in your body is a genetic cell, not the lymph or blood. That's not genetic. These are chemical fluids. However, you can claim that the lymph is genetic only from the sense that when you're in your mother, you're hooked to her what? Blood and lymph systems. And if she's not filtering, neither is baby. And this is why you see the lymphatic systems in babies a you-know-what house mess. And why you see tumors in babies. Malformation. Now, cells. What damages a cell? I'm a cell in your liver. I'm a cell in your adrenal gland. I'm a cell in your kidney. What is going to change my DNA or RNA? What is going to affect my chromosomes? What's going to affect my organelles? Acids. You only have two sides of chemistry, guys. No matter how you break down tissue and you break down the components right back into the atomic structure and then into the subatomic structure and then into the nano, sub, and nano, you'll find the same thing going. Duality. Two sides. One side rebuilds, one side breaks down. Essential for life in materialistic worlds where there's form, activity, and separation. Learning that will help you understand why things are the way they are and why there is essential to have magnetics and polarizations and two sides to things. I'm just saying. It's not complex. They are switching to a mostly fruit diet, I would, and with salad at night. He has problems with his heart valve and other connective tissue problems. Where are we going, guys? Help these nurses out here. They should know this because they're not taught this. Parathyroid weakness. Now, you want to look at this, young man, because what else might be a problem? Pituitary, growth problems, all these things like that, because the pituitary controls all the other endocrine glands. And it's hooked where? In the hypothalamus. And that's your central brain. So growth factors of all types. And you might look at the thymus gland as well. So you want to go after these, but connective tissue, you're going right to where? The parathyroid glands. And I would use a glandular for that. Absolutely would. And I would get a picture of this young lad's eyes and look to see if the pituitary is involved. If it is, and I can tell you the parathyroid, you're also looking at GI tract issues. And of course, to have all that, what else do you have to have on top of that? Review the simplistic and healing. You always have kidney and adrenals. Always. You cannot have any other problems without having those problems too, because they're at the center of the lymphatic system. They are the eliminative organs and the gland that controls them, amongst many other things. Remember, the human body is simply a food processor. Life starts out simplistic, builds to the complex, and returns to the simplistic. You can take that all the way to electrons and protons, all the way to your atoms, and then all the way to your elements, and then all the way to your structures. Complexes, compounds, etc., 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 etc. And it'll all break down the reverse of that. And it's the acid side of life that creates that cationic environment to get down there. That's why death is a highly acidic condition where everything is modeled and everything is breaking down. It's tearing things apart. Breaking you back down to the atoms, because this is a created universe. All creation is already created, guys. We're just atom rearranging. We're just moving atoms around here. I've said this before, for someone to have a baby, you have to get atoms somewhere, so a tree has to die, a plant has to die, things have to die. Things are birth, life, and death. And imagine a force that understands and manipulates all of that. Mind-boggling, to say the very least. That's why the mind cannot wrap itself around the divine. It is simply a conditioned instrument or vehicle you're using to navigate or to create your drama, your life of movement and activity in your other bodies. And to strengthen any heart valve, mitral valve, tricuspid, you are going to work with the parathyroid glands. But I have to tell you, it's probably affected nerve transmission, all types of things. So yeah, you want to go after this in a big way, because you're talking about easy to aneurysms, herniations, things like that, all involved in the same weakness here. Serious stuff here. Any info would be greatly appreciated. Also, Mom was diagnosed with MS 2 years ago. But they're a nurse, right? So, let the mother see this video, because we've been talking about MS on the first part of this video. Very, very important for the mom to go after this. So mom and little son has got to go after the same thing. The same way, in other words. Same way. And I hope that's helpful, because both of them will have a life again. And this can become a very good nurse then. It's hard when you're stuck in hospitals when you know, as a nurse, the truth. Very difficult. That's why there's a 500-member Holistic Nursing Association, if it's not a 1,000-member now. That was 20 years ago. I spoke up there a lot. How's our time? I want to make these as short as possible because they will get up better. So I think that's what I'll do. That's what I think I'll do. And then we'll come back to this one. This is a 41-year-old. Subject is the nervous system again. Years of exercise and fear of ALS from father. And yeah, I would. Because in genetics, we're looking at weak adrenals, weakened kidneys, weakened myelin sheaths already. If you have nerve rings in your eye, you're already in a chronic state of autonomic nerve weakness. That would show you you're also in a chronic state of adrenals, because what I've found through all these years of observation of adrenal functions and autonomic functions is that the state of the adrenal glands is the state of the autonomic. And take in consideration gastral tissues and the center brain here, your abdominal areas, your solar plexus. That's where the great autonomic kind of ganglies up. So if someone hits you right here, you lose. You lose breathing, you lose everything. The central's up here. But it sits right on top of what? It's the head of the tree, and the trunk is what? The GI tract. So you got to clean up the gut to get the sinuses to drain properly, to drain the cerebellum, the mastoids. Work on those neural lymphatics. I'll do this one more here. This other one deals with brain tumors. Here's broken spines. But let's say this was a brain tumor case. Am I going to go after one size fits all? Simplistic and healing. If I'm going after a brain tumor the same way I'm going after MS and brain lesions, absolutely. Same system down. The lymphatic system, these are lymphomas, these are lymph issues. These are not blood issues. A brain tumor is not a blood clot. Oh, well, there's only one other fluid in the human body. Sorry. You don't have to walk too far outside to know that one. And you guys get it. That's why I'm so proud of all of you guys. So proud of all of you guys. You guys are kicking butt and having some good spiritual experiences with it, ain't we? I tell you, a lot of you guys are flying high. I tell you, it's fun stuff. Fun stuff, guys. You know, you don't have to be locked here on this planet. Heck no. Soon to be 42-year-old Caucasian male. My father passed away from ALS. Oh, that's sad. Shouldn't have to. And I'm starting to get scared I will be handed the same fate, because every cell in your body is a genetic cell, strong or weak. Genetics doesn't always mean weaknesses or mutations. It also can mean strengths. So we inherit, every cell consciousness is coming out of the parent. It's just the way it is. And so we go after the cell, because the cell is a reflection of mind, emotions, and physical. The same pathway to get here. Where is my God World chart? I've got that somewhere. I love my God World chart. But they cleaned my office up, and everything is put away nice and neat. Now, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't have a lot of neat. I have so much coming into me here that I don't always have a lot going on there. But anyway, understanding how life is put together is very helpful in your understanding what's going on with you and the different parts that you're interfacing with. The mind, the emotions. I want you to remember, you're not any of those. Those are aspects of creation you're using. Always pull yourself free from your bodies, and you will enjoy your life at a level you can't imagine. When you identify with your lower bodies, then it can be a life of fear, anxiety, and depression, and not from the adrenals and the parathyroids and stuff like that. So every cell is. And then, of course, where do you get your lymph stagnation from? Mama. Fluids are not genetic. Fluids are mama. And they don't know any better. No one knows any better. No one teaching anything on this planet like this. And it needs to be done now. And it is being done. And thanks to you, beautiful souls, you're helping to spread the word. And a lot of people, you are responsible for all these healings, you know. You're helping to spread it out to your friends and getting them well. Does that not feel good to have your buddies being well with you? Because there's a lot more fun to be had than just playing games on this planet. There's a lot of more fun games. I'm just saying. Oh, look at this. I have been getting muscle twitches that don't seem to improve. Yeah, I would start paying attention to that. Use the antispasmodic along with the brain and nerve, upper circulation, lower circulation. Go after the kidneys, go after the lymphatic system, go after the endocrine glands, specifically the adrenals, but check on the parathyroid. Calcium can create seizures and spasms, a lack thereof, and then you start affecting calcium, magnesium balances, and then on down through the manganese and the others, all involved in spasticities and things, convulsions and seizures. But I also do not have any weaknesses that I can tell yet. You do, you just can't feel it. So when you start getting muscle twitches and things like that, that's the autonomic, letting you know, I'm going down, I'm going down. Yeah, good man, you're awake. This is Kevin. Yeah, I feel it will be. I get a picture of your eyes. That's where the story is told, in the iris here. Because I have been lifting weights for 26 years. I've been doing high proteins. See, here's the thing. Those of you who are doing high proteins in bodybuilding, dangerous, very dangerous. And I would get out of that for a while, fix myself, and then get back in it with the greens and things. And you will really love where you're going. You will really feel the power in the muscles. It's amazing. Oh, he's powerlifting too. Holy crap. Yeah, you want to be real careful with that because, man, you know, it's not worth losing your life over, neurological life, and all the other things that I'll use their word, the arthritises, if you will. I have what I consider a rather healthy diet. I try to only eat organic foods, fruits and vegetables, plenty of water, and rest. He exercises 4 to 5 times per week with at least one of those days of strictly cardio to sweat and for heart health. Now, think about this. I want to address that a little bit. There's this misnomer that exercise develops cardiac strength. So, the heart's what? A 4-chambered muscle, basically, or valve system, valve and gate system, if you will. You've got the mitral valve and tricuspid gates between 4 chambers, where the venous blood, the used blood, comes in, circulates then through the lungs and gets oxygenated up to the left chambers, out the left ventricle, and then out through the body again. So it's a gate and valve system. Pressure actually comes in from the lungs and breathing. So you can call it a pump if you want, but it's a really valve and gate thing as well. What is your heart made of? Cells and 2 fluids. So when I exercise, I'm creating a lot of additional acids from the burning of not only oxygen and all the other components of air, but also of the diet. I'm increasing activity of muscles, so lactic acid is increased. So here's the thing. If you can't get rid of these acids, including around the heart, that's actually setting you up more for congestive heart failure or a heart attack. They tell you it's increasing cardiac strength by exercising, but only if you're what? Filtering from the kidneys. You got to be able to remove that which you create if you want to stay healthy and strong. That's why a lot of the bodybuilders and weightlifters get stiff and tight. They lose their flexibility because they are creating high acidosis in the body. Some look beautiful, feel good for a while, except a little stiffer and tighter. Wait till you build up on raw, like Ian and some of these other guys. They're nirvanic doing it. They grow spiritually as well, and having a nice body is to caboot. I do things that aren't healthy, like having alcohol or eating pizza on occasion. Well, the nature of this world. I like to taste something I've never tasted before just to see what it tastes like. If I spit it out, I spit it out, but I like to taste it. But that is part. But the whole saying is, if you smell it or taste it, you're eating it. But that is part of life, and I like those things. I know it is part of life. If you've got a serious problem, like a neurological problem, a brain tumor, you want to go after that. You want to be very serious-minded. And I'm dead serious about it. But then have fun when you get that done. Have fun, who cares? A little cheat here and there doesn't hurt anybody. Sometimes if you get too pure, it's too energetic, you lose your balance. You lose your ability to connect with other humans and other beings. And so you can isolate yourself that way. So balance is always important. At first, we're going after you. You're going after yourselves. And you want to be very pure and strict on yourselves. Get her done. And then after that, have a little Indian once in a while. Have whatever you want once in a while. Who cares? Keep most of your diet pure and healthy, and you'll live a long life and have fun doing it. And you won't get yourself out of balance. Remember, our bodies are conditioned with all these lower forms of food. And when you go up to this high top of the mountain food, and you're used to eating at the lower mountain, there's a lot of discordant energies that can happen. It can unbalance you greatly, emotionally and mentally, because your emotions and mind are based upon low energy factors. And when you're plugged into consciousness and high energy activity, you're like buzzing. Answers are coming into you, all kinds of things. And it can unbalance an unstable person. That's why I teach balance. I've been a Puritan before, big time. Like a lot of you young guys who get Puritans, I respect that. But then remember, as you get older, you're going to find your sense of balance, so you'll have some degree of interaction with humans. I take many vitamins and supplements. I wouldn't. If I was going to do anything, I would take botanicals. Why waste your time on isolates when a botanical will give you a kick on all those levels? Plus, remember, the body, as I'm talking, is a food processor. It processes chemistry. So it takes complex chemistry through digestion and enzymatically tears it apart so you can use simplistic chemistry. The body cannot use complex chemistry. That's why the pancreas is the main digestive organ of the blood. And it breaks apart complex chemistry so you can absorb simplistically. But then you have to absorb. So if the pancreas is down, your digestion can be down. And that includes the pancreatic duct. Now, the second phase, there's 4 phases to the body's processing. The second one is absorption. You got to be able to absorb what you just broke apart. And that's a small bowel predominantly issue, although some traces and microtraces are absorbed in the first part of the colon. But what has to be clean and open? Interstitial spaces. Got to get to the ducts, where you can carry the lipids up to the liver, through the lymphatic lipids, and the other chemistry to the liver. So it all has to be open. Well, lymphatic stagnation interstitially stagnates your ability to absorb these nutrients. Now, Let's say you digest okay, you absorb okay. What's the next phase? You got all the goodies into the blood, even into the liver now. How does your body utilize this nutrition? Metabolize this nutrition? And this is predominantly, again, the adrenal glands. Sugar metabolism, mineral metabolism, all comes out of the adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands produces what, 25 mineralocorticosteroids, cortisols, all these components to help the utilization of chemistry. So when they're down, your blood sugars can go down, your mineral utilization go down, your iron can go down, your zinc can go down. You can supplement taking it. Doesn't make any sense, because then you run the risk of unbalancing your body. It's chemistry. Chemistry is all ratioed and pH balanced. You don't want to mess with that. I don't recommend any supplements, except for botanicals and superfood blends, but that's whole food blends. I teach fixing the food processor. Now, what's the one exception for the minerals? Parathyroid, calcium. You need a good parathyroid gland. So what would then be the final phase of a food processing machine? Cleaning it. You've got to be able to remove the waste from all these processes all through. Your digestive waste are going to go out the colon canal, but the absorbed goodies have to go through that whole processing of the liver and then onto the cells, and then the cells have to eliminate the waste of that usable stuff, right? Whether it's the adenosine phosphates, all of these things. So where does all these go? All the metabolitic acids, the phosphorics, the carbonics, all these acids. There's only one system designed to remove acids out of the human body, like it or not, and that is a lipid system called the lymphatic system. And the kidneys and the skin are the eliminative organs to this system. So you must be able to filter, you must be able to sweat, you must be able to eliminate these metabolitic wastes. So the urine should be a little acidic. The skin, you're going to see gases coming out of the skin. Better than holding too many in. Just saying. So you're always going after fixing those components so your body's, as a food processor, can process chemistry properly. And then there's, why would you take supplements? You won't need it because there's no symptom. You know, the same thing in supplementation as we have in pharmaceuticals. Take enough of vitamin C and you'll remove a symptom, but not the proper way. And vitamin C is acidic. Intravenous treatment of vitamin C will only yield you hardening of arteries and things like that, pulling calcium out of your basement layer of connective tissue. No, 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 no. This is all treatment-based thinking. You want to build up and you want the power of nature, then you use whole food blends, superfood blends. And we've got a whole ton of them. Good stuff. But the most consistent are Garden of Life, Perfect Food, Garden of Life Raw Antioxidants, and Dr. Sinatra's Omega Q plus 100 with resveratrol. I take glutamine, acetyl L-carnitine, Never recommend those. I did them years ago, though, I have to tell you, when I had health food stores, except the glutamines. I never got into those. They weren't really focused on back then. But when you're seeing all these as a thing, even the omegas, you don't need to take oils. There are plenty in all your fruits and berries and things. But what has to happen? You must break it apart, you must absorb, and of course your oils are going to go in the lymphatic duct to the liver. You must have a good liver, and what else? Gallbladder, that's your organ of fats and lipids. So the hydrolyzing of lipids is essential for the utilization in the lymph system. And if that's all backed up, that's not happening. See, so the process of getting well is a hydrated one. It is moving your diet to a living food diet, a diet that is in harmonious with the human body. And that is your fruits and your berries, and I might say the melons. Greens are not harmonious with Homo sapiens. Green juices better because you took the cellulose out. But still, if I'm dealing with blood clots and things, I wouldn't be doing vegetables and greens. I'd be doing fruits and grapes. For inflammation, I take turmeric, curcumin, and for energy, a B complex. Let me tell you, what about getting energy dynamic from the cell, which means that you never get fatigued? Why do you take anything for energy if you are pure energy itself? Inflammation is simply what? Acidosis. Remove the acids and you remove the body's inflammatory process. That's simple. I like these, a little coconut oil, a little blueberry extract, grapeseed extract, I like that, and a little collagen. Yeah, I would change my whole way of thinking there, my friend. I would change my whole way of thinking. It would seem on the surface I am very healthy, I am strong. Yeah, but you'll see as time goes on what happens with this. I hardly ever get sick, but sometimes isn't right from a nervous system standpoint, and I just don't know what it is. And let's see here. From a motocross, he was burned badly at age 29. Look at that. And had to be airlifted, skin grafts. But I'm not sure if that has anything to do with... Well, too bad they had to use skin grafts. Because you can have third-degree burns and your skin will build itself right back. You don't need a graft. You need a good salve, like the burn skin salve, and brother, watch the magic. Takes the pain right out. You don't have to scrape your skin. I mean, it's gross and obscene how the allopathic treats burns.
Oh, are you not done?
You want something?
On the phone with somebody?
Yeah, I'm just doing a video.
Oh, okay. I'll wait till you're done.
You sure?
Yep.
Anything they need to know?
Yeah. But I'm going to be with somebody for the next hour from 4 on.
Okay.
So.
Well, you can put this on pause if you want, Marcy. Thanks. I'll give heads up on that one. Don't be fooled by annual checkups, by the way, my friend. If you want to do a checkup, get an iris analysis. That's a full body checkup that you can't beat anywhere. A little prostate check, a blood pressure check, a blood sugar, and they don't even know how to read proper blood pressures. You can do a full body blood workup and see what your creatinine is and that sort of thing, and get a little look into the lymph system that way. But, you know, this thing that you talk about with the dad and everything, I would take that seriously, and I'd go after that and dig in and find whatever level you need to work at, but I would really dig into that. And my God, there's so many suffering people here, but there's a lot of the same type of things. And like I said, any brain tumors, things like that, I'm going the same way. Simplistic and healing. You want to keep simple, healing simple, because the human body is simple to understand. There's nothing else to grab in life, because chemistry is chemistry. And it responds nicely when you understand the appropriate chemistry and the appropriate energies that you're dealing with here. So, fun stuff. Keep healing fun, no matter how bad you see your clients. For you healers out there, the detox specialists, no matter what you see, don't get confused with diseases. That's all allopathy imagination. This is all tissue being chewed on by acids. Tumors being formed for the inability to remove these wastes out of tissue. And this is all lymphatic in nature. The blood will get it in a while from that. But remember, foods have two sides. Basically, the alkaline foods are your fruits, your berries, your melons, and your vegetables. Everything else, basically, you can throw into the acid-forming sky. You can argue millet and quinoa and stuff, but I wouldn't. Those are still polysaccharides or disaccharides. I wouldn't go there at all. You want living foods. Now, for balance every once in a while, okay. But not if you think you're getting healthy on them. That's the word of the day.